Hi, this is Corey Gerard, and it's time for another lesson which concerns that grand old thing which we hold very much in regard. And this is about time itself concerning its various functions and workings pertaining. So, time is a force interactive with every still or motioning thing. Time is a free-flowing nature clock which determines existing spans. Time is a silent occurring actuality that runs its design course. Time is a resorted period for definite situations pertaining to a characterized assortment. Timeline. A timeline involves a point of origin for a traced story event. A timeline is a search find applied to trackable moments. A timeline is a set in motion stage of events which journeys through. A timeline is applied to occurrences that result in visual descriptions. A timeline is like a moving train which becomes visibly recognized. A timeline often refers to the course actions of a particular event rather than time itself. A timeline is a grouping of events or happenings along a motioning stream. Time span. A time span is of a happening result which takes place after its preset. Time span is a motion start that heads towards its finish line. A time span is a guided signature of an impressionable occurrence which began and ended. Time span is to a sized extent, whether or not it's small or big. A time span involves an inner and surrounding perpetual constant that keeps direct contact. A time span is a determined coursing that merges with any relevant or non-relevant matter. A time span is of an extended train of motioning, which goes as far as it's focused. Time reversal. A type of time reversal is a rewinding of a clock for a restart purpose. A type of time reversal is a backtracking of previous events which were already recorded in time. A type of time reversal is a thought reflection on past moments, but only from a present-future perspective. A type of time reversal is through the ever-changing stages where once was surely becomes again, like birthdays, holidays, and seasons. A type of time reversal is during deja vu, when you feel like you're reliving an exact previous. Time itself. Time is of span, longevity, and duration in which programs operate within it. Time is of event and eventful, so without either, things would just stand still. Time is actually the directional runs for existence. Time is of recollection and foresight. So time leaves impressions of past and future prospects. Time is a chronicle of moments and determined speeds. Time is actually an immaterial constant of reality, so it wears no signs of ages. Time perspective. If one time traveled back into the past, then would their future no longer exist, since it hasn't happened from that earlier point in time? If one time traveled back and encountered their younger self, then technically would they be the same being? If one time traveled back before he or she's birth, then wouldn't they have mastered time? If one kept traveling back in time and each time took a younger self with them, then would there eventually be 50 of you? Time ahead perspective. Just say one time traveled ahead in the future, then would that one arrive anywhere in the first place? Since current choices are what decides future events, if one time traveled ahead, then one might arrive somewhere because story events would have been written even without that person being around. If you time traveled into the future, then technically wouldn't you still be in a present set of circumstances? If you time traveled into the future, then wouldn't you remove yourself from the timeline flow? Time loop perspective. An exact repeating of previous motioning events are a coursing of a time loop. A time reset for timed occurrences are of a time loop. A restart reversal of set situations without any notion of a beyond are of a time loop. A time loop is a continuous recycle of a certain timeline event. A repetitive character event of similar duration has gone through a time loop. A time loop results from a bottled timeline occurrence in which a controlling force resets in motion. Time master. A time master can effectively leap behind or ahead in time without disrupting the normal flow stream. A time master could remove itself from a forward occurring to an even further occurring. A time master can remove itself for a past leap, which may involve days, months, years, and eons. A time master either journeys behind or forward, and speed or accessibility determines the rate. A time master is a person, thing, or device which facilitates the means for travel. A time master knows what the flow rate of speeds are and could course through with them. Time mastery. Through time mastery, one can void itself of any or all types of time detection. Through a time mastery, one could detect the most relevant forms of time motionings, like the very spanning universe as a whole. Through a time mastery usage, one certainly may conclude why time constants must do what they were meant to. Luckily, those time matters aren't more chaotic in nature, which would make them harder to determine. After a time mastery, a person becomes a very significant timepiece. Well, this is your Father Time Corey Gerard, who's now concluding another message, lesson, study for this period.